Hey guys, I've got Ty Rose here, U.S. Naval Academy graduate, 2006. Ty and I started working together at the beginning of this year. He had a lot of experience leading very large teams, $300 million P&L and over 4,000 team members. And when we started working together, Ty, what was the sort of the impetus that you thought like, hey, I'm going to take this experience, and what did you think your next step was going to be? And why did you think that, that might be sort of what we would be able to help you with?
Hey, Tom, thanks. And I didn't hear you say it, but go Navy. One of the impetus was I've got the leadership and the operations and that management background, but in order to get, to a higher level, I was missing a piece of the puzzle. In my line of work, being, working for private equity companies, privately held companies, understanding the funding side, getting, experience, whether that's through M&A on that financing side, the structure, I was missing that. And I realized that I really wanted that experience. I've got the education, right? I've done the master's in business and I've taken the additional courses, but I really wanted that experience. And I felt also that I'd be good in a role taking that boots on ground experience into those type of roles, just to provide a different perspective. So that was some of the impetus. I wanted to go about that. So then we started working together.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you think was sort of missing? What was the main thing missing that you wanted to get in working with a career coach?
I think in just about any industry, people are familiar with the term pigeonholed, right? If you're a lawyer and all you ever do is life insurance law, then you're probably pigeonholed into life insurance law, right? You're not going to transition into, homicide cases or whatever. But you get branded, and branding is powerful, you certainly know, and then you've helped, me appreciate and understand, but branding is powerful. So what is your brand? My brand was, I was a former Marine, and, good, bad, or otherwise, right? Depending on, how somebody took that and how that was received by somebody. And I was an ops guy based on feedback, right? And talking to the folks, that was my brand. I was a former Marine and an ops guy. And I knew I was capable of more. People I worked directly with, right? They knew that, and we had, but how do you get that brand? How do you change that image? How do you change the picture? You can't change history, can't change background, right? Can't go back 5 years and say, man, what if I took this route instead of another one? What you can do is change the message, change how you're projecting that. And I think that was probably one of the biggest challenges I had.
So you just said how important the personal branding and making sure that personal brand resonates with where you want to go. What would be the main thing that you've heard from others about your LinkedIn profile and your personal brand represented on LinkedIn? What's sort of the biggest thing that people have noticed about it?
They say, wow, you have an impressive background, and, but they pick up on that. I got a call last week from a potential client, and he found my number on my profile, which means you actually read it, right? It's like checkbox one. Somebody actually reads your profile instead of just looking at your headline, but getting them in, right? We talk about when somebody reaches out to you, somebody applies for a job that you post for whatever, right? The connection or the cover letter or whatever you want to call it, right? That allows somebody to open up the resume. And if the resume looks good, then maybe you give them a call. And if they've got a good, phone call, maybe you bring them in. Everything kind of leads to another, but each one is a link in the chain. It doesn't matter how good your resume is. It doesn't matter that, you bat 940. If you got a poor cover letter, you're not getting to that next step, right? And especially in this day and age, you got LinkedIn, right? And it doesn't matter what you think about social media. I'm not a big social media guy, not on Facebook, but LinkedIn is the business, networking and marketing tool that, that we have right now and that we're using, and that's where everybody goes. That's the first place that somebody checks. So, and that's the feedback that, I get now as far as, okay, well, I read through and I took a look at, and, whether it's impressive or I didn't know, or it creates that additional connections. But that's one of the links in the chain, right? Obviously, you've got to have the experience to put in it, which helps, but you've got to have a focus. We talk about focus. You've got to have that focus on what you want it to say, right? So it's not just scatterbrain saying a bunch of things, but I mean, it's impactful.
Yeah, I think, like you said, your profile looks really good. It's top notch, and not only helped you in the networking for making that next move from your last job, but like you said, I really like the story. I mean, Ty, when that guy reached out to you a few days ago and said, "Hey, this is one of the best profiles I've seen. I had to talk to you." It really shows how LinkedIn is a fantastic door opener, right? And how having a great profile not only can help you get that next move, but help you in your current job.
And that's the key piece, right? We all want to be successful, right? Everybody wants to do good, and ideally you do good in with what you're given, right? Your current role. How do I take it? How do I go from 4x to borrow Grant Cardone's? How do I get to 10x? Right? How do I get there? You want to be successful, but you have to take the steps. You got to have a good brand. If nobody knows who you are, what you do, what you're about, it makes it tough, right? Those are contacts you're unlikely to ever meet with or connect with or learn anything from, because it's not about nailing the next. Whether it's a deal or a client or something, right? Learning, getting some information, being mutually beneficial, right? Not just being a leech all the time and trying to leverage. It's not leveraging your network so you can get stuff, right? It's leveraging the capability to increase your network so you can increase your knowledge, and whether that's market or industry knowledge, be more beneficial to them, give back. Connect them with other people, and that matters.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, Ty, you really embraced the networking process. It not only helped you get into this role, but it's going to help you really, really pay dividends in what you're currently doing, because you're going to be talking to CEOs and execs at all kinds of companies. What would be like the two or three main things that you would give advice to somebody about what they can implement in networking that's worked for you?
I would say a focused message whether you're contacting somebody for the first time, whether you're following up with somebody, where you're requesting a 15-20 minute phone call, whether you're in that 15 to 20 minute phone call, a focused message so you're not rambling on. You don't spend half the phone call rambling on about your background or what you want to do or why you called them in the first place.
So 1 minute, 1 minute elevator pitch.
1 minute elevator pitch, 20-minute networking meeting, and then be done. So that's one. And one of the other things that you and I certainly talked about and worked on plenty is, I don't know whether you want to call it prep or doing digging in, but reaching out to somebody cold, right, is not just necessarily flipping through the yellow pages and putting your finger down and saying, I'm going to call this guy. I don't know anything about him. Don't know anything. It's like you're very likely wasting that person's time, right? You're probably wasting your own time, but worse is you're wasting that person's time if they actually pick up, because you don't know what they do. You don't want to do work. You don't know anything about their background. Let's say, do your homework, right? Don't waste somebody's time. If you can find out and you can create that connection, you can find out, what does the company do? Right? Hey, he's a CEO of an IT company. Well, neat, right? But what do they do, right? Do you know anybody in that space that at the end of that meeting you could connect them with, right? Do you know anything about the space? Hopefully you're wanting to learn something about the space, or you wouldn't, maybe you don't call them in the first place, but it's what value can you provide? What can you bring to them as well? Again, you're not taking all the time, right? You got to give back.
I think you're right. I mean, Ty, keeping that focused introduction to 1 minute, that's really important. Also, being able to doing the research on who you're talking to so that you're not unprepared. And I think the third thing you said is really offering something of value so that you're not just taking, because the last thing someone wants to do is, be networking with a taker, right? So I think you've definitely summarized that pretty well. Well, Ty, I'm so happy that you got that job in Dallas. You have a great office, I can see. And hey, look forward to working with you some more and helping you do well in your current role.
Tom, really appreciate it. Enjoyed working with you. Glad to be connected with you. And again, thanks. Go Navy.
All right. Go Army. Bye.